They begin.
Thank you, Marlo. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for participating today in WMATA's Small Business Programs Office Outreach Prosperity Pathways. Elevate your finances with smart savings, wealth building, and debt management. This is in collaboration with the World Financial Group. I also bring greetings to you from WMATA's General Manager, Randy Clark, and our Senior Vice President and Chief of Procurement, Ms. Fifi Magosi. I want you to know that as members of the business community and residents of the Washington region, you understand the importance of Metro in keeping your company and the entire region's economy strong. With 91 rail stations across Maryland, Virginia, and the District of Columbia, and more than 1,500 buses operating on 325 routes, Metro provides critical public transportation for the region. But in our impact, it's so much broader. We knit the region together, enabling employment and housing, shopping, and entertainment across the communities. We boost the property values and increase tax revenues near the stations. We also save workers hundreds of thousands of hours each day that will be lost in traffic. And we also save families hundreds of millions of dollars per year in car expenses. Metro could not provide these regional benefits without the business community's support. You provide Metro with the tools and services needed to keep the system running, to keep it running safely. So we rely on companies like yours to assist with functions like IT, bus and rail maintenance, new construction planning, and real estate. And that's just to name a few. So thank you for coming today, and we really appreciate it. Because at Metro, certification is the key to participation. And we encourage all those not certified small businesses to please get certified with WMATA. We have a lot of contracting opportunities. We also have 5 social economic programs, excuse me, that you can be certified in. We have our disadvantage and small business programs on our federal side. And we have our new, if you don't know, our new minority business, small and micro business on our non-federal side. So please check out our website and learn more about our programs. We are definitely open for business, and we want you to be a part of our contracting opportunities. We are your Metro, the way forward. Please make sure you put all questions in the chat. And remember to fill out your surveys that will be sent to you after the outreach event. These surveys help us to plan events that can benefit or support your business's growth. So thank you again for attending today. I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce to you our 2 presenters today. We have Ms. Pauline Tieko. She has a financial literacy advocate for over 27 years and officially became a financial advisor a year ago. Her previous career of 25 plus years of experience in the transportation industry in strategic planning and change management. We have Mr. Philip Deska. Philip is a financial advisor and educator devoted to empowering individuals, families, and businesses in reaching their financial objectives and establishing a secure financial footing for their future. Phillips fosters collaboratively relationships with clients to address financial challenges proactively. With extensive experience, he serves as a trusted personal finance specialist, offering tailored services focused on tax optimized financial decisions. He has guided numerous clients through pivotal financial milestones from retirement planning to college funding, and he uses strategic insights and personalized strategies to ensure your financial security. So at this time, I would like to bring on our presenters and thank them so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Michelle. And I want to also thank Ms. Marlowe for granting us the opportunity to share with you some of our experiences and how we've been able to help a lot of people get on the, prosperity pathway to truly build wealth and also ensure that they can pass on a beautiful legacy. My name is Philip Desker. I've been in the financial industry almost 8 years today. And prior to that, I used to work in the IT industry. I worked as a database administrator. I worked as a program manager, project manager, Scrum Master, Agile coach, just to name a few. And I've been very fortunate to work with some really big financial institutions in the US. And so far, my passion has been to help families get on the right path, help businesses, especially small businesses, to understand how they can properly invest, strategies to lower the taxes, and so much more. So for today, we'll start with building savings and wealth. We'll go ahead and share my screen. If everyone is okay with that, just bear with me one
Yes,
moment.
please do.
Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I want to welcome everyone once again to, our Financial Foundation educational program. And as part of today's workshop, our goal is to ensure that we walk you through how to properly build savings and wealth. I also have Ms. Pauline. She was earlier introduced. She'll be, touching on some key points as we move forward today. So as a disclaimer, the information that we'll be presenting today, I don't want you to interpret this as any accounting, investment, legal, or tax advice. And this is not an offer to sell or solicitation to buy any security, insurance, or any other financial product. The goal of this workshop is for educational purposes only. And as part of our national campaign for financial literacy, we aim to bring financial awareness and education to every family. And you will not learn everything during the course of this workshop, but we do hope that you will learn and start gaining more confidence, and also ensure that you're not just learning, but you start taking actions towards reaching your goals. And being part of our campaign, we do encourage you to help empower others as you continue to learn, and also to help preserve the integrity for today, and also the context of the information. Please do not take any photos, video, or record this workshop. This part, nobody ever listens, so I still have to say it. So welcome once again. Every single day, every one of us will receive, whether it's emails, text messages, or if we go on social media, we get flooded with so much information. And a lot of times you see people offering financial advice. Most people are not licensed. A lot of them have no industry experience. And since most people are not licensed, they don't have any compliance to uphold. And too many people in the traditional industry, they usually narrowly focus on just one or two aspects when it comes to our finances. We take the time to ensure that we look at the total picture, a more holistic approach. And as part of our workshop, we do help educate people and also empower people so they can become their own money manager. We've truly come to understand that once you start controlling your finances, you start controlling your future. And as a goal for today, what are the things that you will learn? Number one, we want to ensure that you start identifying your goals. You understand the financial foundation mindset and what is the wealth formula, and how it will properly help you build wealth. We'll also comprehend the effects of time and how inflation impacts your ability to truly build assets. So let's start first with the concept of money. I want everyone to take a moment, think back. Your first job. For me, it was when I moved to the US. I was working in Colorado as a wait staff at a very luxurious Four Seasons ranch. And my first paycheck, normally I'd calculated that, okay, $10 an hour times 40 hours, that's $400. But I was completely wrong, because when I got my check, I saw that they're taking money out for SSA, Fed, and I went to my manager, hey, why are they taking money? Who's Fed? And she was laughing so hard. She said it's Social Security Administration, and also it's Fed, federal income tax that they have to deduct. I said, but I don't want to, them to take this money. She said, everybody pays. I said, but I'm not an American. She says, you made the money on American, so you have to pay taxes. So I want you to look back. Think of, that first job, the first time you got your paycheck, or maybe the time someone taught you about the value of money. For a lot of us, we have never taken the time to really understand the value of money. We have learned how to work and make money, but not the value. And why do some of us save? What are the most important things that you financially plan for? For a lot of people, they just, most of the time is vacation. Too many people, they have kids, they don't plan for their kids' college fund. So we see a lot of young people getting out of college with too much student loan, and they're starting life out with so much debt. They still have to buy a car, they have to get married, they have to buy a home, they have to have kids. And we see that debt literally becomes a way of life. So many people will spend too much time. We can plan for an engagement or a wedding for 2 years, but we never really take time to sit down and plan for our financial future. A lot of people take time to plan, to buy a home. Too many people don't think about retirement. So what are you financially planning for? I want us to talk about goal setting, because when it comes to goal setting, we must ensure that we continuously reevaluate our goals, right? How can we ensure that we move towards becoming financially secure? Think back, the start of 2020, when we were hit with COVID-19, almost everyone stopped working. We stopped going into the office for so many people, and so many people that lost your job. And if you didn't have enough emergency fund, where would that have left you? For so many people, they were not able to pay their mortgage. They were not able to maintain the same lifestyle. So if you're saving and building, your future without solid goals, you're more likely to truly overspend and not have the resources when you need it the most, right? So financial goals are truly generally based on amount and the time that you need. The more time you have, the more you can have your money grow, depending on where you're putting the money. And different ages, you have different goals and time frames. For someone that is 50 and above, the way they're thinking should be completely different from someone that is 21. The risk tolerance should be completely different. So let's talk about different, when we talk about goals, we want to look at different timelines. So we start with the short-term goals. The first thing is less than 1 year, right? An example is to be able to pay off specific debt or save for vacation. Mid-term goals are, like pay off a car or pay off certain debt between 1 to 5 years. And then long-term goals, like children's education, down payment for a home, or building retirement wealth. Too often, so many people focus just on the short-term goals, but they never take time to plan for mid and long-term goals. Most people will plan for a weekend, but never take time to plan, for a year out, to plan on how your retirement will look like, where your kids will go to school, what kind of lifestyle they want in retirement. So at the end of the day, each goal must be paired with an action, because a goal without action is useless. As a Christian, I learned that faith without work is death. What are you doing to achieve the goal that you have for yourself? Sometimes I talk with people and they say, well, my goal is $2 million for retirement. I say, oh, that's amazing. What is the plan to achieve that goal, right? So let's look at this goal worksheet. Are you saving for retirement? Is it for your kids' college? Are you trying to pay off a debt? Or are you planning for a wedding? Whatever the goal may be, you must ensure that you put it down and then you have an action plan. And also, it is imperative that we understand how much do we need to save. And to help us understand how much you need to save, most financial advisors will advise on the formula of 10-20. So 10 times your annual income for life insurance and 20 times your annual income for retirement. But when I'm working with certain people, I look at, what is the family dynamic? Say if they have a parent that is still alive, maybe the parent is 90 or 100 years old, I cannot advise a person on 20 years plan for retirement. Because if they retire, take for example, say at 65, and they have to live to age 90 or age 100, if we plan for just 20 years, it means they will run out of money. So we have to be more realistic. With the advances in medical technology, we see that people are living longer, even though not very healthy, but people are living longer. So when we plan with people, we want to make sure that we take into account all these different things that are happening. And we also want to ensure you personally, you have to do a financial needs analysis. right? If you are not able to analyze what your financial situation is, sit with a financial planner so they can work with you, look into your financial needs analysis. Then from there, they can formulate a personal financial strategy. And we have various financial calculators that will help ensure that you're able to get the exact number of how much you need to save, to attain the goal that you want for yourself. Whatever strategy that you choose, I always say this: procrastination is not part of any financial strategy. Too many people procrastinate until they find themselves in retirement and they have nothing saved. Too many people procrastinate until their kids are 18 and ready for college and they have nothing for their kids' college fund. So they force a kid to either go to a school that they don't like or have to get student loan, which we can avoid that. So let's look at this. For us to be able to truly calculate our goal, let's start. Say if you need $1 million at age 65, how much do you need to save every single month if you are earning 8% interest? So if you're age 25, you need to save just $286.44 a month in an account that compounds at 8%. If you're 35, you need to save $670.98 a month. And if you're age 45, now it goes to over $1,600. So what does this tell us? The earlier you start, the better, the less you have to save. And most people ask, where do you get this kind of return? That's where we make sure that we educate people so they know the kind of accounts that can give them this kind of returns. So it is imperative that you start where you are. Some people will say, well, it's already too late. But I say you better start today, because if you don't do it today, tomorrow will still come and there'll be nothing there, right? My father always said, a dollar saved is a dollar earned. Because when you need it tomorrow and you didn't save it today, it will be very, very challenging for you, right? So this slide doesn't cover all ages. So we have this barcode where you could take a picture or just, scan the barcode and it will take you to the calculator. So you can put your age and then it will tell you how much you need to save at what interest rate to be able to attain your goal. If your goal is, say, $5 million for retirement, it will tell you based on your age how much you need to save and what interest rate you have to earn. Now, I want us to think of the obstacles that we have along the way, right? On the road to attain our goals, we must prepare. Life do happen, right? Would you rather feel certain in your finances or start scrambling by asking for donations through crowdfunding? In simple terms, would you have your family go on the internet asking strangers to raise money because you're sick or because you're called too soon? We see this every single day. GoFundMe links are being passed over and over and over, right, for people to raise money. And most often we're asking strangers. So this is why we need to ensure that we prepare for those unexpected events by having proper financial foundation. So let's talk about proper financial foundation. So for most people, when they look at this, they won't be sure on how should they build a proper financial foundation, right? And a proper financial foundation can be described, by these 4 different things. And let's look at how we're supposed to build this. The first layer, like when we get to build a house, we must start building it from the ground up. First layer is proper protection. We're talking about life insurance, health insurance, disability insurance, long-term care. God forbid we find ourselves in a situation where we are sick. If we don't have health insurance, it becomes very, very expensive. And a lot of people end up in bankruptcy due to healthcare costs. If we find ourselves where we, God forbid, we need long-term care, if we're not able to do 2 activities of daily living, like feeding yourself by yourself, going to the bathroom by yourself, transferring yourself from one area to another, continence, those basic activities, if you're not able to do 2 of them, you are in long-term care for up to, if you're not able to do it for 90 days. If you find yourself in that situation, it means you're not able to work. So will your income last you for that 3 months or 6 months, or how long will your savings last before it depletes? That's why proper protection is important. God forbid you're called too soon, and if you don't have life insurance, your debt that you have, maybe your spouse has to take over that. Your income ceases to exist. Do you have a plan to replace your income so your family can continue to maintain that same lifestyle? What about the mortgage balance? Will your loved ones have to be kicked out of the house? What about education? The kids that you love so much, you wanted them to go to a good school. If your income is not there, how will they go to a good school? That's where life insurance plays a key role. The next area, we want to make sure that our debt is properly managed so that we can get out of debt sooner rather than later. Today, a lot of people are preaching about leveraging other people's money, but most people cannot even manage a $5,000 personal credit card. How are they able to go get $100,000 of somebody else's money and manage it? That's where debt management comes to play. So before you go and leverage some other person's money, you should first of all know how to manage your own debt. The next thing is emergency fund. We want to make sure that we have the right kind of emergency fund so that, God forbid, we're called too soon, we have that emergency fund that can take care of us, right? And investment, the right kind of investment where we cannot wake up tomorrow morning and they tell us, oh, the market went down and you've lost 20, 30% of your savings. Like a lot of people that are investing, who have money in 401k. When COVID hit, too many people lost more than 20% of their portfolio. Now, I want us to get into the wealth formula. And for us to see that wealth is a mathematical problem, the first thing we have to do, we have to have money. In French, since I'm from Cameroon, we're bilingual. They say l'argent appelle l'argent, that money calls money. So we need money. The next thing that we need is time. The more time we have, the more money can grow. The less time we have, the less money can grow because money grows with time. That's why I always tell people that there is nothing like a get rich quick. The next thing we want to talk about is the rate of return. The more the rate of return, the faster your money will grow. The lesser the rate of return, the longer it will take for your money to grow. And we also want to talk about inflation. I think every one of us on this call today, we are dealing with the impact of inflation. I was at the store last night, bought 2 packs of water and some small things at Wegmans, and I realized that I was paying $50. And I was looking in my cart, I couldn't see what cost $50. And for most Americans, we are facing this reality today. And also taxes. We must subtract the tax because tax has a huge impact on our ability to truly build wealth. Once we understand this formula, then we can truly start building wealth. One thing I understand is money doesn't grow on trees. We must work for it. If you truly want to build wealth, there is a formula to build. And let's see how this comes into play. Let's start with money. Time is money. When I heard about this, I was like, well, how is time money? For those who have spoken to a lawyer, you truly understand that time is money because lawyers are not cheap, right? Especially the good ones. This expression simply means that in order for you to earn money, you must use your time, right? Trading your time for money. And now what we educate people on is to move from that, exchanging time for money to where they have money making money, where they can wake up to the profits. So this simply refers to your money accruing interest over a period of time where money is not working for you. For a lot of business owners, they, all the money that they get from the business, it's sitting in a bank account, not earning any interest, which is not good. And so many business owners, they don't learn how to pay themselves from the business. So if anything happens, all their money is tied to the business and they end up losing not just the business, but also on their personal life, right? So let's talk about how important time is, the effect of procrastination with time. So time can truly be for us or it can be against us. And when we have a lot of time, it can be very advantageous for us, especially when you're younger. But with time on our side, if we don't utilize it, it can cost us a whole lot more. So I want us to look at Mr. Start Early and Mr. Wait Longer. Let's see the difference between these two people. Mr. Start Early, he starts saving $3,600 every year for 7 years in an account that gives him 8% return, tax deferred. Mr. Wait Longer starts saving $3,600, for 17 years, also in an account that gives 8%, but he started 7 years later than Mr. Start Early. Let's see the impact of this. So Mr. Start Early, he did this for 7 years. By the time he stopped, the money had compounded to 34,692. And he waited until at 48, the money has compounded to over 128,000, right? See what happens to Mr. Wait Longer. Though he contributed for a longer amount of time, the total contribution was $61,200 compared to Mr. Start Early, which was $25,200, right? But see the difference. Mr. Start Early, he has over 128,361. Mr. Wait Longer has just 131,000, just about $2,000 shy of Mr. Start Early. But look how much he had to contribute, over $61,000. This is why it is very important for us to ensure that we start early and avoid procrastination when it comes to building our financial future. So looking at the wealth formula, the next thing I want us to talk about is the rate of return, right? Most often, when we get to save our money, most people don't think about the rate of return that they earn. What is the simple interest or compound interest, and what difference does it make? So rate of return is simply the percentage of net gain or loss on an investment over time. So let's look at this example. If you earn $6 on a $100 investment, we simply divide the gain by the principal amount. So $6 divided by 100 equals 6% rate of return. Now, if you haven't written anything down, I want you to write this next part. The rule of 72. This is the most profound formula when it comes to building wealth. So the rule of 72 is simply shows you how you can approximately calculate what will be the effect of compound interest on your savings or investment. So what does it say? If we take 72, we divide it by the rate of return that we earn, it will tell us how many years it takes for our money to double. To simply put it, if you earn 4% interest wherever you're saving money, we take 72, we divide it by 4. It means that if you put $10,000 in an account that gives you 4% interest, compound interest, it will take 18 years for that $10,000 to become $20,000. You don't have to lift a finger. Now, let's look at another example. If you earn 6% interest, 72 divided by 6 equals 12. So in 12 years' time, your $10,000 becomes $20,000. You don't have to lift a finger, right? Every 12 years, that money will double. See how the effect will look like. By the time the person is 36, they have over $81,000, right? What about 8% interest? We divided the same by 72. In 9 years' time, the money will double. So by 36, the person would have had the money compounded more than 4 times. And if we earn 10%, the money will double every 7.2 years. So the same amount of time, see the difference. At 36, the person has over $309,000 compared to the person that earned 6%. So when you are saving money at the bank, assuming that they give you 1% interest, if we apply the same rule of 72, 72 divided by 1 equals 72, it means if you put $10,000 in the bank today, in 72 years, that 10,000 becomes 20,000. The big question is, how long do you have to wait for your money to grow, right? I want us to, answer the following. You can put it, I believe, if the chat is open. So if you put $10,000 into an account and in 9 years it guarantees to double to $200,000, what is your rate of return? For the sake of time, I'll just go ahead and answer this. If we take 72 divided by 8% equals 9, right? So if you ignore paying the balance on one of your credit cards, and the APR is 18%. In how many years will your debt balance double? 72 divided by 18 equals 4. So in 4 years' time, if you had $5,000 credit card debt balance, in 4 years' time, and the interest was 18%, that $5,000 you start owing $10,000. That's why for most people, if you keep paying just that minimum payment to your credit card, you keep paying it for almost forever. It is imperative that we understand that the rule of 72, it applies both ways. For those who understand it, they earn it. For those who don't, they pay it. Think about the people who have credit card at 28%. If we apply the rule of 72, how long will it take for their debt to double? So it is imperative that we understand this rule and apply it to our benefit, right? So in 4 years' time, it will double. And when we use the previous table, at 10% rate of return, approximately the money you have after 43 years is over $600,000. Because the $306,000 would have compounded to over $600,000. Now, let's look at inflation. This impacts every one of us as of today. So inflation, cost of living. First, let's start from 1958, where the average inflation in America was about 3.7%. Let's look at the new homes. In the 70s, the new home was about $23,000. In the 90s, it went up to $123,000. As of 2020, to even get a home today, any good house is more than $400,000. See what the price of gas was? See wages. One thing that hasn't really grown up much is wages, but everything has gone up. And a loaf of bread today, when you go to Wegmans or Whole Food, you can find bread for $9. Sometimes I ask the question, what do they use to bake this bread at? It's truly, mind-boggling. And let's think how inflation has affected, over time. If we assume a 3% inflation, let's see how that will impact the purchasing power of $100 over 20 years. So 5 years from now, that $100, the power reduces to $86. To be able to buy the same amount of goods or services that you are paying $100 today, in 5 years' time, you'll need $116. So if you, 10 years from today, you wanted to buy the same amount of goods and services that you're paying $100 today, your $100 goes down to $74. You need $134. And 15 years from now, it goes on to $64. You need $156. And in 20 years from now, you need $181 because that $100 goes down to $55. So what does this mean for you? Whether you're saving for college or for your retirement, will $1 million still have the same value today, 20 years from now? So if your goal was $1 million, do you think you'll need just $1 million, in retirement, thinking of how inflation will impact the purchasing power of that $1 million, right? And what is the purchasing power of $100 doing? I wanted to hear some answers. Miss Pauline, you can see the chat?
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to hear some answers. Is it increasing, decreasing, or staying the same? Let me know what people are putting in the chat. All right, I'll just go ahead and answer. The purchasing power, as we can see, it continues to decrease. $100 goes down 20 years from now to $55, right? And if you started with $100,000, how much would the increased inflation amount be in 20 years? We just multiply that by this. So it equals $181,000. So $100,000, you will need $181,000 to be able to purchase the same amount of goods and services that you're paying $100,000 today. So it is imperative we understand this, and when we get to savings, we save accordingly. And how much will you need to retire in 20 years? And how much would you need to retire for 20 years? Most people plan for just, that 20 years, right, to be in retirement or to get to retirement. But what about the next 20 years that you will actually be in retirement? So this changes the dynamic of how we think when it concerns retirement. Because 20 years from today, after you save $1 million, what will be the value? And what would that $1 million be for the next 20 years? Will it even have any real worth, right? So now let's talk about taxes. I know everybody likes paying taxes. So sometimes I get a call and someone asks me, hey, can you give me the plan where I don't have to pay any taxes? I said, well, my goal is not to make you avoid or evade taxes, but I can show you strategies where you can better position yourself where you get down to the 0% tax bracket, right? So we have 3 different categories of tax treatment that IRS provides. We have the tax now bucket. It means that any earnings that you get from this account, you have to pay tax for that year. So any capital gains, you will pay taxes. So your bank account, savings account, checking account, brokerage account, you will continue to pay taxes every year on this account for the rest of your life. Then we have tax later. For example, your 401k, 403b, TSP, IRAs, annuities, money that you contribute into this account are pre-tax dollars. So you don't pay taxes on it now, but down the road, when you get to collect that money, they'll hit you with a big, tax burden. And one thing for most people, we know at the back of our minds that taxes will go up. So if you have a big chunk of your money, say you have $1 million in your, say, take hypothetically 401k, how much of that $1 million truly belong to you and how much of it belongs to Uncle Sam, right? Then we have tax advantage accounts where before you contribute into this account, the money has already been taxed. So all the money that grows inside, you don't have to worry about taxes. So let's look at some of this. I want you to identify typical tax treatment for each of these accounts. Is a savings account tax now, tax later, or tax advantage? Ms. Paulina, no, I'm not able to see the chat. I want to see if people are answering it. Is it a tax now, tax later, or tax advantage? So
As I receive the responses, I'll share. I have not received anything yet. Thank you.
Okay. So this is tax now for a 401k as a tax later account. For a mutual fund is tax now. Any capital gains, you have to pay taxes for that year. And what about a Roth IRA? A Roth IRA is tax advantage because the money you contribute into it is after tax dollars, right? And to help reduce the impact of taxes, when we get to save, we want to consider how will tax impact, our ability to truly increase our overall income. So for the tax now, checking accounts, savings, CDs, mutual funds, etc., you continue to pay tax on these accounts for the rest of your life. Tax later accounts, or otherwise known as tax deferred, you have 401k, 403b, IRAs, annuities, pensions, TSP plans, where you pay taxes down the road. Tax advantage vehicles, you have things like Roth IRAs, 529 college savings plan, cash value life insurance policies, and health savings accounts. Before you contribute into this account, you've already paid taxes. So everything after that, you get to keep it to yourself. I always encourage people, you want to get yourself to the 0% tax bracket. There's nothing wrong with having money in all of these buckets, but always understand what will be the tax implications down the road. So let's look at this. Since we've covered all the different areas of the wealth formula, let's go now and see a typical example. So if you save $100 today, you gain 4% interest, you pay 25% in taxes, that's you minus $1 for federal or state. The net after tax is 103. Then one thing we haven't factored is inflation. So if we factor inflation at 3%, it takes $3 out. What is truly left after all of this is $100. So if you're earning anything less than 4%, you're simply running in a hamster wheel, right? You're running, but you're still stuck at the same place. That's why a lot of people, their money will never really grow, because any small thing based on the type of account you have, any interest that you earn, it goes right back. They take it through taxes, inflation takes it, especially if you're not earning above 5%. So are you gaining or losing in whatever portfolio that you have? I want you to take a moment, ask yourself, various questions. What will it mean for you and your family when you have enough money to be free of financial worries? I will share my personal stories. My parents have moved here in September. They had all kinds of health issues. My mom, both knees, she has arthritis. My dad has spine problems. So since we haven't been able to secure health insurance for them, the knee replacement surgery, we're told it will cost $63,000. My dad's spine, I just told him, you got to man up, because if it's $63,000 for knees, I don't know what they will charge me for a spine, except you want me to go broke. But good thing me and my brother, we were able to shoulder the bill for my mom's knee, right? But it is truly challenging. One thing I've learned through this process is we must prepare for healthcare expenses, because whether you like it or not, as we grow old, our body starts, the check engine light starts coming on. Today is this, tomorrow is that. So if we don't have a plan in place, we may end up spending all our retirement savings to pay for healthcare expenses. The next thing is, what will it mean for your family's future? Knowing you and your children, you understand how money works. Whatever the goal, whether it's long or short term, the journey will begin by you building a solid financial foundation and also understanding the wealth formula. You must take time in believing in your future because nobody else will except you. You can become financially independent. You must have a plan of action. Take time to increase your cash flow. Ensure that you spend less and save more. For most people, when they get a bonus or an increase, at their job, the next thing they go is they match their expenses to whatever increase they've gotten. The small bonus they have, they find all kinds of ways to spend it. You want to take time to reduce your debt and liabilities. You can become debt-free. It must be intentional. You must understand how money works and become your own money manager. So you don't go on the internet and any Jack and Jill just gives any kind of advice and then you say, oh, I cannot do this. You must understand and make good financial decisions. Have a clear financial goal. Nobody else will do it for you. Have a life of purpose. We must take time to build legacy and pass on something better to our kids so they can carry that mantle and build something really, really good. Embrace change and expect to succeed. Financial independence is not a dream. It is most often just a decision. Whether it's about you deciding that, well, I won't buy lunch every single day. I may just learn how to cook and save even if it's $20 a week, right? I may eat out for 3 days a week and then save, for 2 days, just prepare my own lunch. Those are just small decisions that you can make and start seeing action. Some people, they have Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, all these different things that they're paying for, but they hardly ever watch TV. Someone like me, most often the TV starts watching me, right? So you must take action. One thing we like about what we do is we always open ourselves for feedback. Those who come to our sessions, we always want to hear how has our sessions transformed them. We have Victoria Go. She says, financial education and literacy with applied knowledge will serve your future. Though we started from scratch in our 20s, we were able to achieve our first $1 million saved goal. And we are very proud of our money management discipline since. We're excited to achieve our next financial goals, and this time for sure, it won't take that long, right? So only you can take the steps necessary for your future. One of the greatest miracles that we have come to learn is that you can change your life simply by changing the way you think. I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity today. And Ms. Pauline, I'll pass it over to you to continue with the second part of our presentation, which is around increasing cash flow and managing debt. And you can call me in when you need me to support. Thank you all very much. Ms. Pauline, I'll stop sharing. You can go ahead. I'll monitor the chat. Any questions, please, at the end of it, you can put it in the chat and I'll be able to answer you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Philip. Really appreciate that. If you don't mind, could you put up your screen? I'm having technical difficulty on my side, please.
Okay, no worries. Let me bring that up. Share this.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Philip, again, for sharing with us what you just shared. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the next thing we're going to focus on is increasing your cash flow and managing debt. Next slide, please. When we look at it is we have to figure out what our vision is and what our goals are. Where would you like to be in 5 years? What will your net worth be, right? And what will your retirement look like? What goals and plans do you have that you're going to achieve for your business, right? It is imperative to have a vision. And usually we start the vision from you as the individual to your family to your business, because that's how it's going to prosper, right? And having a goal that's frequently reviewed really helps you see what the future looks like, right? Now, during this workshop, these are the things that you're going to learn. The first one is going to be being able to discover how you can be able to find $100 or more that you didn't know you had. Also finding out where is your money going, right? And then being ready to build a real plan that is debt-free faster, right? And how is it going to be possible to increase your cash flow? We know that money isn't the greatest asset as well, but again, applied knowledge is. Next slide, please. There are only two ways to increase your cash flow. Very simple, not very complicated. You got to spend less and earn more, right? It's not about how much money you make, but actually how much you end up keeping. Next slide, please. First thing we got to learn to do is to pay yourself first. In order to go to the path of financial independence, you have to save first, then spend before it can grow towards the path of financial independence. And then, unfortunately, we have a lot of people who do it the reverse way, where they end up spending all the money and then there's little left to save, right? Next slide, please. As we mentioned earlier, make the first payment to yourself, then to your family, to your children, and then your future. And then that's when you spend what is left, right? The least amount we ask is to look at 10% of what it is that you have made as your income. Have you saved at least 10% of this month's income? If not, let's find out ways to do this. All right. For example, let's do a breakdown of what it is that you have and how much you spend today. So like now, for example, it's 11 o'clock this morning. How many people stopped by for breakfast and got Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, or something else, right? That is also another way you can be able to account for your money, right? So it's very important to understand that you're spending your money wisely and don't waste your money, because the more you spend, the more you have nothing to keep, right? So we look at it. Where's your money going? It's important to reevaluate this on a monthly basis. How do you do that? You have a budget. You create your budget and you constantly review it and see, what am I using for this amount of money? Am I helping it to pay down my debt? Are there other ways that I can possibly save? Philip mentioned about learning to cook and carry food to work. That's another way you can do it, right? And then also working with automatic payments, right? It is good to have an automatic payment coming in, but what is it going towards paying, right? And then we also need to reevaluate our expenses, right? How can we save money monthly? Some of the subscriptions, some people since January have been saying they're going to the gym. It's now going to mid-May. Are you still going to the gym? Can you cut that down? Can you use coupons for your groceries, right? Can you consider buying a used car instead of buying a brand new car? Look at what it is that you're using for your business expenses. Are there things that you can readjust accordingly, right? Is it possible to start on carpooling? Those are other advantages that you can put there, right? And also something else is that you need to understand that the cash flow has to work, right? So you have to take control of it. What does the cost of $6.60 per day, which is roughly $200 a month, growing annually at 10% look like? In 10 years, it becomes 39,573, whereas in 20 years, it's 142,215, whereas in 30 years, it's $443, right? When you look at what you can buy for $6.60 today, that could be, a muffin, it could be a cup of coffee. Look at it from that perspective. If you saved that much, can you imagine what it would do for you in 30 years as $408,443 tomorrow, right? Now, the other thing we need to look at is the difference between assets, liabilities, and net worth, right? And it's imperative, as you're in this financial literacy perspective, we look at it like it's a game. Understand and know what the rules are and understand the language. What is an asset? Most people, when you ask them what an asset is, they're not very sure. But the most simplest answer is something that has monetary value, that adds money into your pocket, right? When you look at a liability, what is a liability? Opposite of that, something that claims your asset or something that takes money out of your pocket. So when we touch the third thing is, what is your net worth, right? Basically the difference between the two. Assets minus liabilities will determine what your net worth is. Next slide, please. So food for thought, and simply put, assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take out money from your pocket. The rich buy assets while the middle class buy liabilities that they think they are assets. So let's ask this question here. Is a new luxury car, a high-end purse, or a tech toy an asset or a liability? What about purchasing a new home or purchasing a new brick and mortar business? What can we do to reduce our liabilities and cut down the debt? The thing we know for sure is that with commitment and discipline, you will definitely be able to get out of debt. So when we look at these assets listed here, what is considered an asset or a liability? The market value of a home could be considered a liability or an asset. Please go back to the other slide, Philip. Right? Is it under, mutual funds? Are they liabilities or they assets, right? It also depends on the way you're looking at it, right? You have savings, you have checking accounts, retirement accounts, client life insurance policies for businesses. For business partners, you can have key employee programs that help maintain the employees. Are these used as assets or are they liabilities, right? Next slide, please. Then the next thing we look at, what about monthly cash flow, right? Is what you're bringing in more or less than what is going out? Which one is it, right? Your monthly cash flow calculation must consist of your total income, where you subtract the total asset contribution, and then you also subtract the total liability contribution and your totally monthly expense. That's how you get your monthly cash flow, right? And what we advise is that to meet with your financial professionals to help you complete your personal financial strategy that will be able to help and guide you in your business. We normally do this exercise, and sometimes it's mind-boggling when you look at it. So when you hold your hands together, which finger comes on top? Is it the left or the right? Can you try to do the opposite of it? How does it feel? Is it comfortable? Right? Same things with your arms. When you cross your arms, which arm is on top? Is it the left or the right? Right? All these are habits that we as individuals do, right? Do you have a spending habit or do you have a saving habit? And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable to adjust from either. Next slide, please. Now, there are common forms of debt, right? And what happens is that with these common forms, we tend to borrow or incur debt during our lifetime. What are these forms of debt that are common? You look at a mortgage, student debt, credit card debt, car loan, business loan, right? And unfortunately, with the credit card debt, it's something that grows very fast if we don't check it. And it's also something that we can better manage. And the time to start is now, right? The average American is really suffering under a lot of debt right now. As of 2020, consumer debt reached well over $14.56 trillion, right? Whereas the average American carries a debt balance of over $5,000 each month. And that does not include any of the mortgage that is there or any of the finances that are put towards brick and mortar businesses, right? Aren't we all tired of paying interest to someone else? Right? When we look at the cost of debt, let's say you have a $5,000 credit card, right? And the minimum payment is $150. The APR is 19%. Of the $200 that you pay into that credit card debt, 78 is what goes towards interest, right? 112 actually goes towards the $5,000 in debt. So that means when you're only paying the minimum, You'll only pay $21.64 in interest, and it will take you 48 months to pay that off. That's 4 years and a total of $7,164. Do you now see what it's costing you to be in debt and why we're advocating for being debt-free and working on your debt management? The real cost of debt is really high, right? If you look at what we are looking at here, that's $78 that you put in each month that you are paid towards interest. If you put that in a vehicle that gives you 8% annually over 30 years, we're looking at $156,000, $346.37. This is an example of how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Right? Excuse me. One of the best ways that we have discovered over the years is learning to live debt-free. Basically, what that means is living within your means, not increasing your debt, understanding how the credit card works between the APR and paying the minimum payments, and then making sure you don't apply for more credit and get a higher limit. Stay within the limit that you need. Some people often take the option of freezing their cards to prevent new purchases on their accounts. That's also another strategy you can use. The best thing to do is to build the habit of using cash or using your debit card and work towards paying off your balance. We also have another system that we call the debt roll-up method, right? Debt can quickly spiral out of control. And if somebody is not disciplined enough, it will get to a point whereby it goes out of control, right? Some people explore debt counseling services, yes. But now what we offer is the debt roll-up or the snowball method. Basically, what this is focused on is paying either the highest interest rate credit card that you have or the lowest. So you list all the debt that you have and you go through one by one and you make the sacrifices to make sure that you pay that, right? Like now, for example, this is a typical repayment schedule that we're looking at here. This is a family that has $401,775 worth of debt as their total balance, right? And their monthly payment is $2,857. With this kind of debt, it's going to take them 30 years to pay this off. So with this particular individual, we're able to help them create a budget and readjust their budget. And subsequently, we're able to find $100 that they were able to save. So they took that $100 and put it towards the first credit card. So instead of paying $10, they're now paying $110. And instead of taking 19 months to pay it off, they were able to pay it off in just 2 months. So the idea is to take that 110, roll it over to the next credit card. The credit card was $25. So now instead of paying 25 minimum payment, you end up paying 135. And instead of spending 27 months to pay it off, it gets paid off in 6 months. So you continue doing this over and over and over again. And remember to have the discipline not to reuse what you have paid off. When you look at it, if we roll up all that money, $2,957 end up going towards paying the mortgage, right? So instead of paying 361 months, you only end up paying 2004. And when you look at it, that is an actual savings of 17 years instead of the pre-called before 30 years. And the difference in the years is what you can take and invest that for retirement or put it back into your business. So let's look at it, look at this chart the way it goes. Can you imagine if you had an additional $100, what would that look like? What if you had an additional $300? What would that look like? These are the figures that we're talking about, right? It's imperative that you look at this as an option for helping reduce your debt. Right, and we have a QR code there. Feel free to scan it through, and you can be able to get it and help you utilize the debt roll-up method. All right, next slide, please. Rules of credit. This is one of my most favorite ones, so please bear with me as I walk you through this. True or false? Once a credit line is paid off, is it a good idea to close the account? And the answer is no. We don't recommend closing the accounts because the credit lines are important to establishing your credit score, right? A higher credit score may help you receive better lending terms for larger purchases in the future, right? So developing good long-term habits, build up your credit and manage your finances with responsibility and discipline is the key for the maintaining the good rules and laws in credit, right? Another thing we look at is we gotta spend less, save more, and earn more. What will you change to save more money? How will your family feel when you've accomplished your plan to become debt-free? How will your business prosper with having less debt in it, right? When you, excuse me, when you go to work, who are you working for? Are you working for your employer, the government, the bank, your family, your business? And who do you want to benefit the most from your hard-earned money? Should it not be yourself and your family and your business? So ways to increase cash flow. You could always go to your boss if you have a boss, or if you have a business, you could always work extra time or work overtime and increase the flow on there. Other people have an option of getting a part-time job, right? And then other people decide to create another stream of income for their business. Today, there are very many opportunities. Just to remember to never lose sight of your goals and the reasons why. The question that comes to mind is this: will you shrink your dream to fit your income, or are you going to increase your income to fit your dream? So in summary, what have we discussed today? We can find ways to consistently reevaluate your monthly expenses so you can save money, right? You can also manage your debt by planning to pay them off faster using the debt roll-up method. You can even, in addition to saving more and spending less, you can always find ways to earn more, right? Now, imagine if people understood the difference between liabilities and assets, do you think there would be less debt? Chances are living debt-free will always be less stressful and a way to live, right? So it's imperative to work through that and understand that, right? What does it feel like for you right now? Where are you and what is it that you're working on? It is imperative to also find time to seek out assistance from financial advisors who can be able to look at your strategy that you have in place and see how they can be able to help you use that as a way to increase your income and build your financial freedom and see how you can grow your business. Next slide. All right. As always, we advise people to take action, right? Here's a testimonial from one of our people that we worked with and we helped them moving forward. His name is Neil. I just wanted to share what I'm learning with our campaign, why I'm applying, and which is what I'm applying to my own finances. I follow the financial foundation by heart. I'm proud to say that I have proper protection and I've wiped out any debt so that every month all of my credit cards show a zero balance. I've also built a significant emergency fund that I can now cover my monthly expenses for 1 year. As the workshop states, it is not how much money we make, but how much money we save, and this is what matters the most. Once again, we always advise everybody to understand that everything is step by step. Nothing was, like they say, Rome was not built overnight, so it is imperative to take the small steps that are there and to follow it through one by one so that you can be able to change your life. And exactly how to do that is simply changing the way you think. Thank you very much again for giving us the time to share with you today. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat. Philip, did any questions come up?
Yes. So we have a question that where are you getting 6%? So during our one-on-one sessions, we show you options where you can get 6% and more, where you're guaranteed to not lose anything and you have better growth. So I'll encourage you, reach out to us on a one-on-one session. And all our sessions are complimentary, so you don't pay us anything. Our goal is to ensure that we bring financial literacy to everybody, not just the affluent and rich, but we also want to make sure that the common person can get financial knowledge and start leveraging some of the financial tools to truly build wealth. So Ms. Gail Sullivan, please just have my number, or I can send you my email. You can reach out to us and we'll be able to work with you and show you some of the options that are available and educate you on them. Okay. Okay, so say to Philip, what were those steps you showed? Are you talking about the financial foundation? Okay, so the first layer is proper protection. Let me just bring that back up. Just bear with me one moment. Let me bring it up. Rather than just talk about it, because I'm a visual person, and I know a lot of people too are visual learners.
Yep, me too, Philip. This is great information. I'm so glad our audience is loving this today. These are great questions that they're asking. Audience, please know we will send out their information so that you can contact them. So everyone who has attended today, you will receive their information in order to be able to contact them directly.
Okay, so I have the screen up. So this is what you meant, right? And you will get the slides. So just in case you were worried about maybe missing the presentation, but we'll send out the slides. Ms. Pauline, please, would you be so kind as to put your contact information on there? Oh, thank you very much, Ms. Kenya, for the feedback. All right. Any other questions? All right, let me stop sharing. Merci à toi. Okay, I'll pass it over to you.
So, Philip, I am saying thank you, thank you, thank you. This has so many awesome takeaways. I know our audience is like, what? I learned what? I got to understand what? So I want to thank you and Pauline today. We really appreciate this. I also would like to look publicly invite you guys to come back again for our outreach series that we try to do to help and educate, businesses on things that can help them either personally or, with their business. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I will be remiss if I didn't thank my small business program certification and outreach team, Marlo, Michael, Lillian, and Shanae, who are working in the background. Thank you guys so very much. I hope you all were able to learn some important information to help your businesses, to help you personally to actually grow and to get financially literate on what we need to do. Because I was taking some pointers too. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. So this was just awesome. As you can see, this is our next outreach and everything that we have. And we look forward to you guys attending our outreach. Please, if you are not certified with WMATA, we have so many contracting opportunities. We would love for you to get certified with us. Certification is the key to participation And we look forward to, getting your questions or, your applications to come in. Once again, thank you, Philip. Thank you, Pauline. This has been an awesome time. And I do look forward to having you guys back again. And have a great rest of your day, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
That concludes our presentation. We look forward to seeing you at our next outreach event.